Hi, I'm Brian with Rotive. I'm a Pardot and Salesforce consultant. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to create a happy birthday campaign that's automatically going to send a happy birthday email or a series of emails. You can also use this to trigger off automatic campaigns based on any sort of a date. So you could use this for an anniversary campaign, that sort of thing. Now, it seems like this should be really simple, but it's a little bit tricky. The method that I'm going to show you here is the simplest version that I've come up with, but there's a couple limitations that I'll certainly get into. So first off, we're really going to need a couple different pieces. We're going to need a date within Salesforce that is for the next birthday, because we want to know what date this year we're going to need to send that email. Knowing that somebody was born 50 years ago isn't always enough. We're also going to need a list within Pardot that's going to automatically pull those people onto it when it's their birthday. And then we'll have that list feed an engagement program. And the engagement program is what will actually send the email or the series of emails. So first things first, how do we figure out what the next birthday is for one of our customers? So within Salesforce, there actually is already a birth date field on the contact record. So we'll start with that. So we'll know what their birth date was, say 1950, 1975, what have you. And from there, we can use a formula to turn it into their next birthday. That can be, it's almost as easy as just changing the year to this year, except of course, once their birthday passes, we're going to want to change it to the next year. So let's go ahead and pull up a contact record. We're in the object manager now. If you go to fields and relationships, you can see all those fields and you'll see that birth date already exists and it's a standard field. If this isn't visible on your contact records, you're just going to need to add it to page layouts. So the next thing we can create is a new custom field. I actually already have one built, but I'll go through it again. Click the new button and then choose formula and give it a name. I'm going to call this next birthday number 2. Because I already have a field called next birthday. And the output is going to be a date. Go ahead and hit next. And here's our formula builder. Now I've already worked out the formula, so I'm going to copy it and paste it into place here. And I'll include it in the description below the video. Our formula here is it's doing a couple things for us. Essentially what it's doing is it's saying if their birthday this year has not yet passed, then set their birthday's year to this year, right? So if it's January 6th and my birthday is January 8th, then my next birthday will be January 8th, 2021. Filming this in 2021. If it's January 10th and my birthday is January 8th, then it would be wrong to say that my next birthday is January 8th, 2021. Right? It just passed. So we need to increment that year up. So it needs to not be 2021, it's actually 2022. So this formula is evaluating whether or not today is past greater than this year's birthday. And the way it does that is, first of all, everything is going to be output as a date. And it's asking an if, so it's checking if something's true. And today is today. If today is greater than that birth date value with the year updated to today. So the reason why we need to change that year to today's year instead of just say, is today greater than our birthday? Because it's always going to be greater than our birthday. Our birth date is our actual day 30 years ago, whatever it happens to be. So this is asking, has our birthday this year passed yet? If the answer is yes, this year already had my birthday, then it's going to output with our birthday, but incrementing the year up 1. So we're going to say, we're going to take this year, and we're going to add 1 to it. So the birthday is going to, the day of the month is going to stay the same, but the year is going to go from this year plus 1. So next year. And of course, if our birthday hasn't passed yet, then the only thing we need to change is to update the year to this year. Probably sounds a little bit confusing. I've got the code for you in the description. You can just copy and paste it into your formula. Always click check syntax to make sure that there's no mistakes within that formula. And then hit next. Next again. Choose whatever settings here are appropriate for you, whoever you want to have access to that particular field, and if you want it to show up on a layout or not. So I'm going to hit save. That's the only new field that we need to create. Now that it's been created, we need to map it to Pardot. We need to give Pardot access to that new field. All right, now let's map our new custom field to Pardot, because that's what we're going to need to do in order for Pardot to automate emails off of it. Click the Add Custom Field button and click that drop down right in the middle to see if we have our next birthday field available. It's not showing up right now, and that's probably because we just made it. So it hasn't, the metadata has not yet synced into Pardot. Click this little refresh button next to it, and that should force a sync between Pardot and Salesforce and update our Salesforce.com field name list. Okay, it's refreshed, and our field next birthday 2 has now shown up. Of course, within your org, just calling it next birthday is perfectly fine. I'm going to call this next birthday 2. That looks good. Now the type, you want to make sure the type is set not to text, but to date. And we're going to use Salesforce's value for this field. This sync behavior option, leave it to Salesforce's value. We're importing a formula field, so you can't write to a formula anyways, even if you change this to use Pardot's value. So that looks good. Going to go ahead and trigger a sync of our database now that we have a new field added, and we can get on to the next step of building the segmentation list. Okay, so we're now automatically calculating the birthday for everybody in our system. Now let's create a list that's automatically going to pull people onto it when it is their birthday. Let's go ahead and create our list now. Now we can call this contacts with birthday. We'll do today and tomorrow. Actually, that's not quite right. Yesterday. Yeah. So this will be a list of contacts who have a birthday today or yesterday. There we go. Now that's a little bit different. Like most people think, well, I just want to send one birthday email. Why not just have a list that is contacts with the birthday of today? That would make a lot of sense. The challenge though is we need to add on an extra step at the end of this campaign in order to force a sync of that prospect record to Salesforce so that Pardot knows its birthday next year. So we're going to create this list to make it a little bit more broad. I want everybody whose birthday is today and if their birthday was yesterday. Go ahead and make that a dynamic list and set rules. Now the rules that we're going to set are looking at a prospect custom field because we just created it. And there's our next birthday field. And then we have a couple of string options here. We can look at days in the future greater than or equal to, or days in the future less than or equal to. So we're going to say we want a birthday, or a date rather, that's 0 days in the future, equal to or less than 0 days in the future. In other words, today. But in addition to that, we want to get all of the fields or all of the prospects whose next birthday is also less than or equal to 1 day in the past. So days ago, less than or equal to. Now that's going to give us everybody, because if you think this is going into the future, this is going to be everybody whose birthday is today. And then we're also going to get them if their birthday was yesterday. So we're going to keep on the list for just a little bit longer. Go ahead and run rules, and that should run through your freshly updated database, pull on some people. The next thing to do is to build out that engagement program. So go ahead and click the blue button to add an engagement program, and we'll call this birthday campaign number 2. Our recipient list is going to be contacts with birthdays today or yesterday. And we don't need any suppression list for this one. You, of course, can certainly add a suppression list if you'd like. And we're not going to limit this to just work days. Whatever day their birthday happened to be, Saturday or Sunday, they should be getting an email. And we want prospects to be able to enter this program more than once. They have a birthday every year. And we'll just put 7 days here. They're not eligible to re-enter this campaign for at least 7 days. And unlimited entries. Okay. Now we start building our campaign. The first action to take is to send that email. I'm not going to choose I'll just choose a design test template here, but obviously you would choose the happy birthday email template. And let's have it send immediately on that day. Now the next step is a little bit different. We're going to take another action and we're going to update or change a prospect field value. Now, it really doesn't matter what field we're changing as long as it's not going to interrupt any of your data. So what I'm actually going to choose is that next birthday field, because you remember I said if we change that value, it's going to be ignored by Salesforce because that's a formula and we can't actually update a formula within Salesforce. So I'm just going to update that next birthday to today, and I'm going to wait a day. And it doesn't matter what we set this to. We could set it to a specific date, January 1st, 2021. The important thing is that we're waiting a day to do that. Here we go. And so this is our simple engagement program campaign. And so the reason why we wanted that dynamic list to get people whose birthday was yesterday is so that they'll still be on the list when we wait a day and we end up updating this field record. The reason for that is because it's going to trigger a sync. So whenever you update a field in Salesforce or in Pardot, it's going to automatically push that prospect's record into the other system, updating all of the data. Formulas don't do that. So our formula is smart enough to know that the day after someone's birthday, that their next birthday will be next year. But that change in Salesforce is not going to push into Pardot. So if we didn't have this extra step of just triggering a sync on this individual prospect, it's possible that somebody would go through the birthday campaign and then they would be forgotten for the next 12 months. If no salesperson ever edited that record, there would be no reason for that record to have pushed back into Pardot. And so the field value in Pardot will have always been their birthday, right, from this year. So they're not going to go through the birthday campaign again. So the key to making this whole thing work is that we trigger a sync the day after their birthday so that Pardot can update its field value and know what the next birthday is for that person. And then even if nobody touches their record for the entire year, they're still going to get that happy birthday celebration message 12 months later. All right, this is looking pretty good. Then just hit start when you're ready to go. And that's it. So in this video, we covered 3 things. How to take a date field and get, or the birth date field, and get next year's birth date or next birth date. How to map that into Pardot and create a dynamic list for everybody whose birthday is today and yesterday. And then how to create an engagement campaign that's going to fire off a happy birthday email and also trigger a sync the day after to update that next birthday field to next year. So even if you never edit that record for the next 12 months, they're still going to be up to date. You're still going to have a perfectly recurring automated campaign. I hope that helps, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.